I'm assuming you have some sort of gymnastics or cheerleading background. Would I be right?
10 years of competitive gymnastics.
Because that sky twister, holy crap! Like, and I remember the first time I ever saw it was 1995 on Raw, and like I see it now, and I'm like, my gosh, it lands perfectly. Like it looks, you can tell it looks like it hurts somebody, but it doesn't. Like you have such great control of your body. What things came easier to you training pro wrestling than maybe they did other people, or maybe just came naturally to you in general, that you looked at and you were like, yeah, that really helped?
So the first time I started training with rolls, I was like, oh yeah, I can roll all day.
Yeah.
Like, but I think even the back bumps, if you've ever been on a trampoline doing those, I have a great body awareness because I know where I'm at upside down. I did that my whole life. I walk on my hands all the time. I still can do like full tumbling passes at my old age of 65. But yeah, and the other thing I always say, the floor is a square and the wrestling ring is a square, and your passes go diagonally or straight down the middle. So it's the same ring awareness that you have. Like you can't be too close to the corner. You can't be in this weird jumbly spot. Same goes for gymnastics. So I think that sense of awareness came naturally. And body control is freaking huge. If you can't control your own body, you can't control someone else's. You can't safely pick up and put down another human if you can't safely control your own body. So
footwork helps so much.
Yes, footwork too.
So obviously Victor had trained MMA for a while. Had you trained that? Had you been involved in that before? Because I mean, quite frankly, when I started to do my training, going through back bumps and the rolls in that helped me a lot too. I'm sure that helped him. I mean, when you're an athlete and stuff like that, a lot of that comes natural, and anybody that looks at him can tell he's a freaking athlete. Anybody that looks at you can tell you're an athlete. But has MMA training helped, or maybe one way or the other? Has wrestling helped your MMA training, or vice versa?
Absolutely. I think both of our bodies were hardened, right? You're hardened to so much impact, which is a good and a bad thing. But for him, he started out, he transitioned right into like an MMA gimmick when he started. And for whatever reason, it didn't read, it didn't get over. He thought he needed more character stuff. I was just walking out as like, you know, a ring girl of sorts. And then it dawned on me when we cut our first promo that I was like, no, we need characters. I can't just be like hyping you up, like fight, punch someone in the face. Like that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So he got out of that and he was doing like more of the power move stuff, but now he's gotten back into just being him, what his body naturally does. And those are takedowns and fancy pins and chokes and transitions. Like my body doesn't naturally do that. Right. Like I look at a limb and I'm like, how am I going to twist that up?
Yeah.
You know, like, but he just instinctively knows how to get someone in a pretzel, like in a second. So that definitely helped him. I started training MMA a little bit now. I had a few injuries, so it's difficult to be consistent in any form of combat training. But definitely hitting the heavy bag and doing kickboxing classes, stuff like that has helped me tremendously.
Oh, your kicks are so smooth. When I see some people throw kicks, the first thing I look at, do they pivot? Do they use their hips? Do they turn into it? Any of those things? Because when you see leg breaks in MMA, usually it's because somebody doesn't turn their hips into it. They don't pivot or anything like that.
Right.
And it translates to pro wrestling so well when people know how to kick. It seems like that came really naturally to you because it seems like second nature. Like I would think that you've been training kickboxing like most of your life. Was that something that you took really well to as well?
Yes. So I did a little bit of dance as well. And I think form is everything in gymnastics and dance. You're either coordinated or you're not.
Yeah.
You can work on being coordinated for a long time. But that came natural to me. If someone gives me a technique, I think I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. And maybe it takes one or two times, but I was very fortunate in life to kind of pick things up quickly. And that was the same with wrestling. It was just like, as soon as things were given to me, I could comprehend. And I think managing helped because you're ringside. And I always tell people it was my favorite place to be because I was right in between the action of the ring and the emotion of the fans. So you're sandwiched in all of this emotion. And that's what I loved. And in the beginning, I didn't know if my husband was hurt or not. I was like, oh my God, that looked terrible. Like I was like I just didn't know. I had no idea. I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like ringside freaking out. So the art isn't lost on me of, this is seriously damaging, right? Like it really is. And the emotion is the biggest part. Like I want to be a physical specimen and freak, and people would be like, oh, I want to do that crazy spot that Lady Frost did like 10 years from now or whatever. But I also want to tell a story. It's very important. The emotion is very, very important. That's how I fell in love with it. And the little girls coming up with their big beady eyes. Can I have an autograph? And I'm like, yeah. So I went off on a tangent. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And I love, like, there's always these interesting parallels, MMA and pro wrestling, because in pro wrestling, if you don't sell, people go, that isn't realistic. But if you sell in MMA, that's it. You're done. Somebody's going after whatever you're selling, whatever you don't want them to know you're hurt.
I think that was his biggest challenge in the beginning. They were like, freaking sell. And he's like, sorry, I've been trained my whole life to not sell anything and to just power through. So it's definitely a unique transition there.
And it definitely seems like people that train shoot styles, whether it's catch wrestling, kickboxing, MMA, they have an enhanced ring psychology in that regard, because they're always in the mode of finishing the fight, pinning the opponent, submitting the opponent. So I think that's helped out an awful lot. What do you want to get better at? What do you think is something that you want to improve personally? Is there anything that's a goal? Or after 65 years of tape study, are you pretty much there?
I am not there. I will never be there. Oh my goodness. I wish I had, 30 years to perfect this craft. And even then you're never perfecting it. Yeah. Definitely want to get better at grappling. Like, it's not second nature to me. I can't just wrap someone up quickly. The high flying offense, I think I have to win matches to do all of the cool moves from the top. So we'll get there. Some of those will be making their appearance, hopefully. But definitely, like, the ground game is something that I have to get better at to match the high flying game.
So is that a concentrated effort as well? Because, I mean, obviously right now in the spot that you're in with a lot of these companies, you're coming in, you're sort of paying your dues, so to speak. So I would imagine you're leaving some stuff there. You're like, this might look cool on TV, but it'd look a lot cooler if I was getting a 3 count after I did it.
Correct. Like, you can't pull out a Phoenix splash if someone's going to kick out of it. All right. A spiral tap is in there. There are things that are in the back pocket that have not made their way out to play yet. So, but that's what television is for. Like, I'm not going to the indies to do all this crazy stuff either. If I'm already getting eyes, like, I'm trying to be safe and not take crazy bumps or just try to go viral. I really want to take pride in my work and be safe about it and be a safe opponent for everyone else as well. So, but yeah, there's definitely more to come.